Okay, I think you've seen most of my instruments, but I don't think you've seen this one. It's a voltage calibrator, and they're fairly rare, and there's no service manual for them. So if you have a service manual or a schematic or any information at all on this thing, please let me know, because I've seen other people online look for them with fail. I've looked online at fail. There's just no documentation for this thing at all. And unfortunately, it's quite a bear to service. There's about 20 potentiometers on the back. So for every single range, I think there's a gain and an offset, and maybe, I don't know, it's tricky. I've tried to calibrate it in the dark. I've tried to calibrate it to other instruments that I trust, but it is a tricky thing to do. It'd be nice to have a manual for it. But anyway, it is useful. It's not too high precision. It's only, 3.5 digits or something like that, maybe 4 digits. But it is nice. So the on-off switch is kind of weird. It's off in that up position. Then it rotates around. So you turn it clockwise to turn it on. And then you're also adjusting the compliance voltage. And we'll get to that later, but that's kind of weird. So I always just run it halfway down and call it good. And then there's a knob here that puts it into standby mode, or you click it over and now it's in operate mode. So that just says I'm putting voltages on the connector. So you can put it in standby, and then it's disconnected or normal, and then reverse is just the opposite sign. So now it's -1 volts instead of +1 volts. That's handy for a lot of calibrations where you're doing offsets. It has some nice ranges. It has a 100-volt range, a 10-volt range, and a 1-volt range, and so that's nice. And then these knobs set they're click 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 knobs, and they set the voltage. And this one goes to 11. Very nice. And so you can get 110 volts out of it, 110.999, I guess. 110.999, because this is as far as this thing goes. But anyway, so that's the volts range. That's on this pair of banana jacks here. Now there's banana jacks up here that say millivolts, and now there's two other ranges. There's a 100 millivolt range and a 10 millivolt range that output on this connector here. And then way over here, it may be hard to read for you because it's kind of in orange. There's the top connector here, which is milliamp. So it has a 10 milliamp range and a 100 milliamp range. And then a little LED comes on here, says high voltage. So that's what this knob is for. It's the compliance voltage for the current source, and that goes up to 150 volts. So it has a very high current compliance. So it does work. I use it from time to time when I want to put some accurate voltages on it. It's not all that great for calibrating things because it's not totally accurate, and it does have a limited resolution. 1.000 is not great for calibrating a lot of things. So when I decide to calibrate things, I use my 6.5 digit voltmeters, which I bought, and they both seem to be within calibration when I got them, so I haven't touched them since. So they matched within 1 digit of each other, so I kind of use those as my gold standard in the lab. Once again, if anybody has any information on this, it's a DigiTec, DIGITEC, HT series 3110 precision voltage current source.